we've got the big race that starts it all at Monaco. But before we talk about Monaco, Max Verstappen with the win. So it's good that you had him as one of the picks last week at 4-1. But yes, Max Verstappen qualifying first. He qualified first, right? Or was he second?
He was second, actually.
So he was able to overtake him at the start, and then that was it. You couldn't catch him.
Exactly right. He got 2 free pit stops because of a virtual safety car and a safety car as well, but I don't think that mattered. Verstappen got himself on the pole. It was a very close fight for pole. Piastri was the one that ended up beating him to it. But Max probably had the overtaking move of the year so far into turn 1. Just let it coast along in on the outside alongside Piastri. Piastri didn't try to chop him off like we've seen with Verstappen and Norris going into the first turns, and that let Verstappen through. And then before you knew it, he had built up a multi-second lead, and it was just his race to lose after that. Like I said, it's a track that reminded me a lot of Suzuka in the way that the corners are, the narrowness of the track, the way the braking zones come up. Not a whole heck of a lot of places to pass, just one DRS zone. And once he got in the lead, there was no looking back. It was all Max Verstappen.
Okay, so now it's Monaco. And taking a look at, it's pretty similar. I know we talked about it hadn't been a while before any driver had started outside the top 3. I think it was the top 3 and won last week. Well, it's been since 1997 since anyone has won at Monaco outside the starting 3 positions. And the defending champ, Charles Leclerc. What's up with that?
Ferrari's having problems. So Charles Leclerc, first Monaco native to actually win his home race last year. It was great for him and Ferrari. This is just a unique track. If you can nail it in qualifying, generally pole, though you can win from second place as well. Generally, it's got to be from pole because you're going to get that run into that first turn, and then once you're there, there's no chance of passing. You could drive like 50 miles an hour.
Just don't sneeze.
Exactly right. You could drive 50 miles an hour as long as you don't hit anything or bounce off of anything. There's no place that anybody can pass you. So that's basically what Leclerc and Ferrari did last year. This year, they're even worse off. So I don't see a Ferrari being in there, though they could surprise me. They've got 2 really great drivers in Leclerc and Hamilton. So if they pull something out of their sleeve in qualifying, they've got a chance. But basically, it's going to be one of the guys that sits on the front row, which quite honestly, I think is going to be Piastri or Norris, just because they've got the car that is the one to beat right now. So Monaco, unlike Imola and unlike Suzuka, does not have any fast corners. It is all slow corners. And quite honestly, we've heard multiple times this year that is where the Red Bull is at its weakest. So again, I think that McLaren is going to be the team to beat. You're going to want to pay very close attention to qualifying, but likely you're probably going to have to make your picks before qualifying. Otherwise, once qualifying is over, the picks are going to be negative for whoever's on the front row. So in order to get a chance to make any money, you're going to have to choose pretty early in the week. A couple interesting things about Monaco this year, though. I think it was it last year? I think it was last year, and that's what helped Leclerc to win, that there was a red flag very early in the race. So under the rules, you could change tires in the pits under red flag. And according to the rules, you have to run 2 different sets of compound tires. So when that red flag happened last year, everybody changed tires under the red flag and kept their exact same positions, did not have to pit the rest of the day. And therefore, that's why Leclerc led the procession home. That can't happen this year. So here, they changed the rules. There's a unique thing for Monaco. Number 1, you can't change tires under a red flag anymore. Number 2, there is a mandated 2-stop minimum. So you have to use 3 sets of tires minimum. 3 sets of tires have to be used during the race, including during the rain, if it rains. And if you don't do one of those stops, for every stop that you don't do, you get a 30-second time penalty. So they're trying to force a little bit more strategy, a little bit more artificial action.
I guess they have to.
They have to. Otherwise, it's just a procession. But whoever's going to start on the front row is going to win. And like I said, that's going to be Piastri and Norris. The question is, which one of those two is going to be the one to get the pole? And quite honestly, the way that he's been going, I think it's going to be Piastri this week.
So you think Piastri is going to be the favorite then?
I think Piastri is going to be the favorite, and I wouldn't be surprised if he's got negative odds at this point.
Oh, yeah, because he's been like 150 plus.
Yep.
The last couple of weeks. All right, let's see.
You're getting a bonus. Take it.
Look at that. Almost 2-1. And that's because of Max, isn't it? I bet you.
Yeah, I bet you it's because of Max.
All right. So what do you think? Same or like 2-1 for Norris?
Last week
250?
Last week they were the same, so I think they're probably going to be the same again, though I think Norris should be slightly less, probably 250 in my mind, but I bet you they're going to be the same. Yeah.
Okay. So, and then Max should be 3-1 now?
Max should be way worse than that, but I would say probably
he's got to be down now if they're up.
4-1 for Verstappen in third.
I'm going to say 3-1, but yeah, you know more than I do. As usual. See, I'm a little bit surprised, unless it's going to come from other drivers. I'm a little surprised that those odds went up when Max was 4-1 last week.
Yeah. Different track though.
But shouldn't this be a better track though? This is not a good track for Max compared to last week though, right?
I think last week from a car perspective was a much better track for Max.
Yeah.
I think this week the track does not suit the Red Bull. They're bad in slow corners, or that I shouldn't say they're bad in slow corners. That's where they have a lot of their problems. I don't know what the temperature is supposed to be, but the hotter it gets, the worse it is for Red Bull as well. And I think, being on the Mediterranean with the sun, with slow corners, I think McLaren's, just from a speed perspective, are probably going to have the advantage. So therefore, Verstappen probably certainly worse this week than last week.
Let's see. Monaco weather Sunday 66.
Yeah, that's not too bad. But still, the slow corners, it's all going to come down to qualifying. We know that Max is an ace at qualifying, so if he gets on the front row, he's going to have a chance. But in all honesty, I think it's Piastri's race.
And it doesn't look like any rain. Looks like there's some rain on Saturday.
Well, that's when qualifying is. So rain on qualifying could throw a complete wrench into the works.
Absolutely. That's right. Okay. So who's next?
Probably George Russell. No, Leclerc, giving it to the hometown kid at plus 850. Yeah, there's Russell. Hamilton will be next.
That's a big jump to Russell.
Big jump. And you're almost approaching positive odds there on, is that a top 4 finish on the far
Yes,
right?
it is. Yeah.
Yeah. So those are all good odds for George Russell, to be honest with you. If you've got the strategy, if the extra stops do make this a strategy race, with the way that the Mercedes have been going and the way that they execute, I've been talking about it all season, the way George Russell is driving, he could be in store for a podium. So that plus 550 there in the middle actually looks very good for him.
Yeah. And the minus 105 for just to get in the top 4. So behind the top 3 drivers, that's not bad.
They're very likely to be there.
Okay. And Hamilton's at 18-1, but they don't have anything, right?
Yeah, Ferrari is really struggling. They're struggling with their car. A couple of weeks ago, Hamilton said he finally figured out how to drive the car and what they needed, but the team hasn't been able to really develop it. The upgrades that they've brought have not had the impact that they expected. So I think Ferrari continues to be on the back foot. And by the way, upgrades don't really matter at Monaco. It's all about starting from pole. The other tracks, next track, when we get to Spain, that'll be a bigger impact, but at Monaco it's really kind of a one-off race, all about qualifying.
Okay. And there's never any reason to talk about anybody else unless you think any of these drivers have a shot in the top 4.
Yeah, no, I don't. There's no reason even to talk about that. Even if it rains, like we're not going to get 1996 again, where Olivier Panis won, which is those 4 cars, I think, that crossed the line in that race. It was a wet race, just a lot of attrition. There will be attrition here at Monaco, and drivers will make mistakes. But even if you have rain, you still just cannot pass. So you just take it. If you're in the lead, you just take it as easy and as simple as possible. Like you said, don't sneeze, don't make a mistake. As long as you do that, there's really no chance for anybody to get around you.
Okay. So who is your outright pick?
My outright pick this week is Oscar Piastri.
Okay. And have to feel good about the fact that you're getting 180 now.
Absolutely. Would have gotten 150 last week and I would have been wrong.
But at least you have Max backing you up at 4-1.
Exactly right.
Okay. Top 4.
Top 4, without a doubt, you've got to go with George Russell. He's been a pretty regular podium finisher. Mercedes, excellent on the strategy. They've not been making any kind of mistakes. They've been consistently top 4, top 5. I think this would be a great week for Russell from a top 4 perspective to go ahead and take him there.
All right. And then the winning car number.
That's got to be negative. Oh, yeah. Negative 225.
It is down, though.
Yeah,
that's probably what happened last week, because it was minus 350 and that was a loser.
Yeah, that is not bad, actually, considering you get 2 at Monaco. One of them is going to be on the front row, almost guaranteed. I think Piastri is most likely to win the race. So I guess my third bet, honestly, would be the negative 225 McLaren.
Okay. I mean, you have other options, keeping in mind that if you take this and you lose, you're losing 225 and not just $100.
Well, I would go with Piastri as the win. That's my outright number 1.
Do you think it's safer to go Piastri Norris instead of taking McLaren?
Yeah, you get a better payout, don't you? I'd have to do that.
Yeah.
I think
well, you do.
Yeah, I think if you split the 2 at both being plus 180, I think you have to put less down on each, and you probably get a better return than the negative 225, and certainly less risk than losing 225.
Yeah, so if you do Piastri, Russell, and McLaren, obviously if you win all of them, you're going to be at 280, like about somewhere around 375. But if you do it this way, see, that's the only difference, is you do it this way, then you're only going to get 285. So you're going to lose the opportunity for 100 to win, but you're also going to protect yourself from losing the 225, because if the 225 does not come in and Piastri wins, then you're going to need, George Russell to be your deciding factor on whether or not you're like up 100 or down 100.
Yeah, so I'd rather take the 2 drivers this week with positive odds than avoid.
No reason to risk it, you mean?
Yep.
Okay.
Agreed.
So Piastri and Norris at 180 each, Russell minus 105, and you'll stay away from that heavy win car bet. Okay. Yeah, I mean, and Russell, I mean, look, at Red Bull 350, it's so, I know why they're doing it, but it's just so silly why anybody would even take the chance. And just, I know it's only an extra plus 50, but it's just no chance. It's like 1% chance, less than 1% that Max, if Red Bull wins, is not Max. Come on.
Yeah.
So
there's no way that wins that it's not going to be Max.
Yeah. All right. So there you go. That is our F1 coverage for the week. Normally, we might say, see ya. By the way, what's up with what's the schedule like?
We stay in Europe. We go to Spain next, and then we'll take a week off before we go to Canada. Spain is an interesting track, so definitely tune in next week. It's a place where a lot of teams will be bringing a lot of upgrades, so we could see a shakeup in the order when we get to Spain. And it's a track that all the teams know really, really well and test a ton at. So it'll be an interesting race for sure. Definitely more close fought, I would think, than we'll see at Monaco.